Hi everybody, I'm Jman, and today we are reading our Bible, just like every day. This one is from Psalm 51, verse 17. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart. O God, you will not despise. This is a very important verse to me. And I think this verse really does talk about a lot of things that I have been talking about. But I don't want to just sit here and say all that. I want to play the game. It looks like we could be very close to leveling up just by playing the game. But I don't know right now. Looks like we're at home, so that's good. Now, this is a very interesting verse. Most of the Psalms, we don't know David's heart behind. We don't know what exactly was going on. But with this one in particular, we do know. In this psalm, David says, before the psalm, this psalm was written after Nathan came to David and expressed his disconcern that God had provided. Now we have scripture of when Nathan came to David and expressed disdain, disgust. But I'm going to go back and explain the situation a little better, and then I'll get to what Nathan said, and then I'll explain how it relates to Jesus. Because it does relate to Jesus, the whole story. So, David and the people of Israel were at war. And in these days, the king would go with his people, and there was a lot of times where that would happen, when the king would go with his people and help them fight the war. So, David chose not to go. He chose to stick back, and one night, while they're fighting, he goes out on his roof and he sees a woman taking a bath. Because they didn't have indoor plumbing, you had to find a place to take a bath. This particular person was able to do it on her roof. Don't know why, but she was. So David tells somebody, hey, go get that woman and bring her to me. And the woman comes, and they really... he was the king, so whatever he wanted to do, she did. She got pregnant. And her husband was out fighting the battle. So, David calls her husband back from battle and says, come on back and spend some time with your wife. So she comes back, so the man comes back, but he won't sleep with his wife. He decides that he's going to sleep outside the temple. He says if his brothers can't sleep with their wives, he can't sleep with his wife. It makes sense. Where is it? Cool. We picked up the fumble. Nice. Great way to start the game. Is that Cam Newton dropping a fumble? How's Cam Newton dropping a fumble? So yeah, no, wait, who? Well, he did drop it. So David sends him back out onto the battlefield, and David gives him a note to give to everybody, the man in charge, saying this man is going to go to the front line. Now, in these days, that was a death sentence. There was no way that, very little of a ability for this man to make it off the front line. Oof, wow, okay. That just wasn't something that happened. And sure enough, he died. And David married this woman, and then Nathan came to him, and Nathan said, he told him this parable. He said, God told me to tell you this parable. A man with 100 sheep has a visitor coming, and when the visitor gets there, the man says, go to my neighbor's house and take his one sheep, and we're gonna kill and cook and eat that one sheep. And they do it, and Nathan says, what do you think about this man? And David says, well, obviously bring him to me so that we can have him killed. And Nathan said, that man is you. And David said, what? And Nathan says, what you did to Uriah's wife, Bathsheba, important names, both of them. Uriah actually was a friend of David's. And Bathsheba, I'll explain the importance of that one in a second too. But because of what you did, you were the man with 100 sheep who took the one sheep for yourself. And that's when David got it. And Nathan said, so here's the deal. Here's what's going to happen. She's going to lose that baby. There's nothing you can do about that. And then the next baby that she has, that's the baby that I want you to make your heir. Now, Jesus was in the line of David. I don't know why I said Jesus though. David already had more sons. This son Solomon, who was that child, was not, was not David's first child, was not his first boy, male, that should have been the heir to the throne. But that's what he was told. He was told, your next son, Solomon, which didn't have a name yet, but that's the name we know him as now. Your son Solomon, or your next son, will be the heir to your throne. Jesus is of the line of David through Solomon. We know that. That's also important. But if you haven't heard the name Bathsheba, this is why she's important biblically, especially when we talk about looking at Jesus' ancestry. Bathsheba is one of four women. Wow, can I talk? Apparently not. 4 women mentioned in the ancestral log of Jesus, where Jesus' ancestry is mentioned. Bathsheba is one of the women that's talked about there. There's 3 other women. I think it was, I'm going to give you 5 women's names, but I think it was only 3 of these women. Tamara for sure. I can't remember if it was Rahab or Ruth. I think it was Rahab, but it might have been Rahab, Ruth, and Bathsheba. So maybe there was a 5th, of course, Mary. And what's interesting about these women is they're all connected to affair scandals. 2 of the women aren't even Jewish. Ruth and Rahab aren't even Jewish. Actually, Tamara's not Jewish either. But they're all connected. So 3 of the women aren't even Jewish. But they're all connected to scandals that were inappropriate relationships, basically. And so this is one of those situations where we kind of get to see the repentance side of it. Now, I've gone all the way around, talked about everything, but what does that have to do with a broken and contrite heart, a broken spirit? About God desiring a broken and contrite heart, a broken spirit. Oh, I was following him. That's what David had to do. David had to go through a broken and contrite heart. David David had to have a broken heart. His heart and his spirit wound up breaking for this child that he never got to meet, for his friend that he, with plausible deniability, is still responsible for the death of, because he sent his friend to the front line knowing full well that if his friend was on the front line, his friend was not going to survive. And that is what the broken heart was all about. And contrite spirit, are they going to give it to me or are they going to give it to the other guy? M-Mac. Okay. I didn't see who it was. No, it says 0. Oh, no, tackle for a loss. Oh. Do they have to be tackles for losses right now? I have to make 3 of those. Where am I going? Trying to do a tackle for a loss. Because it is in the ancestral line of Jesus. That is what starts to make this important. So it's Kyler Murray. It wasn't Cam Newton who fumbled. And that's why it relates to Jesus. But it also relates to Jesus in that Jesus is also wanting a broken heart and a broken spirit. After Jesus allowed his heart and spirit to break like nobody else had allowed to have happen. So it's Jesus suffered and died in allowing himself to have a broken heart, to be broken, to physically be broken, so that we can see what physical broken looks like. But for us to truly accept and want to be part of who God is, we have to have a broken heart. The less broken our heart is, I started to say more, but it's really the less. The less broken our heart is, the more self-focused we're going to wind up being, the more self-interest we're going to wind up having, the more we're not going to trust in God. We're going to trust more in ourselves, in what we want and what we can do, in how we can do this sort of thing. And it's not going to, nothing else is going to matter, because our focus is on what we can do and how well we can do it. But if we've got a broken heart, then we're going to feel, it's almost like we're in a we feel crushed, pretty much. We feel defeated. We feel like we can't continue. Like we are hindered. And it's typically at that point where everybody says, I should have come to you sooner, but I came to you now when I was at my lowest. But we can't have a broken heart or a broken spirit unless we're at our lowest. We kind of have to be at our lowest point to be able to allow God to work. It's I guess, a catch-22, where, yeah, we can ask for God's help and we can use God, but unless we are allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, it's not going to matter. It's all the same, isn't it, huh? We have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable. And that's it. That's what David is talking about here. Because of what happened, he was able to allow himself to be vulnerable, and in a state of vulnerability was able to realize that God is in charge. God has the plan. God will take care of him. So it's, yeah, sorry, yeah, we can tell God that we want to have a relationship with God, but we can't understand that relationship until we're in a situation where the only thing that matters is that relationship. And I think that's what's going on with David here, is he's in the relationship, he gets the relationship, but it doesn't mean anything until he's in a state of complete brokenness. He defeated Goliath. We talked about that. And he had been worshiping God from the beginning anyway, non-stop worshiping God. But he still needed to break. And for the moment, up until Nathan came and talked to him, he felt unbeatable, untouchable. He felt like he could do anything and get away with it. And he was king, so to some degree, yeah, he, for the most part, could. But he didn't allow for his conscience to get the better of him. He didn't allow for his conscience to tell him that he was wrong and why he was wrong. And he had to hear the story to be able to understand his wrongness, what he did wrong, and then he had to suffer the loss of the child. That child still had to die. And I don't know if David had lost any other children while he was king. We don't hear about that. We hear about a lot of the sons that he had. Well, we do hear that he did lose a son actually while he was king, but not as a baby, I guess is what I'm saying. He had another son that, man, we're losing. Everybody's getting hurt in this game. He did have a son who got his, in fact, the son that should have been king got his hair caught in some branches in a tree. And due to his hair being stuck in a tree, he wound up hanging by his hair. And that is what killed him. So, yes, I said we don't know if he lost any other children, but I know that he did. he definitely lost his one son who wound up suffering and hanging from a tree. Not anything like what Jesus, not anything like the way Jesus died. In fact, that would be more of a curse is the man who hangs from a tree situation than Jesus. But maybe not. David also had other issues with some of his children, but his worst one was this child that he never met, this child that he never had the chance to spend any time with, that he never had the chance to know anything about. And that is, I think, what caused David to be realize that he's got to be broken. Oh, that's on me. I guarantee that's on me because I touched him. Personal foul.
Roughing the passer, defense.
Barely touched him. He didn't even fall down. But I did touch him after he didn't have the ball, so it's fine. It's, yeah. Oh. That could have been pass interference, but I'm glad he got the sack, so I'm not going to worry about it. So that's what, after all that, I think what David is saying is that we've got to be vulnerable and allow our vulnerabilities to show us that God cares about us. Because even when everything hurts, everything's hard, and nothing is easy, and that's how life is. I don't know anybody who has had a good, easy, gentle, peaceful life that could say that, yeah, my life's been great. But I know people who have suffered, who have been through a lot, who will tell you that they've had a great life. No matter what they're looking at, it doesn't matter. We got one tackle, doesn't help us get any closer to 100 tackles, but it wouldn't help us get to 70 either. Baltimore did better. Baltimore did a lot better. It's just the one takeaway that really messed it up for Baltimore. And they couldn't get as many touchdowns. They were held a little bit, but not as much as I thought they were because they got 300 yards. Sorry, I know I got distracted near the end. I had some clear thoughts on what I wanted to talk about, but as far as the actual verse itself, I let my thoughts get away from me. I definitely think that vulnerability with ourselves is what is a lot better. Yes. Field general. Coverage, recognition, pursuit, speed, coverage, Z coverage, M coverage, and Z coverage. Okay. Man in zone. Okay. Still only that one. Okay. So we got block shedding 86, speed 79, tackle 85, hit power 82, pursuit 78, acceleration 78, play recognition 77, awareness 73, strength 86, zone coverage 66, power move 75, finesse 66, agility 79, man coverage 66, catching 55, press 60, jumping 72, injury 99, stamina 90, toughness 99. 3 tackles for loss, 3 tackles, 4 assists, 8 solo. Okay. So I got 5 years on this contract, 37. Okay. Wow. I don't know. I had never looked at that. Just thought I'd take a look. Let's go ahead and advance this week to get to our week against the Lions. So I hope you understand that vulnerability is hard, especially when the world is going great. And when the world is going great, it's also hard to remember God and to make God important. But when things are hard, it's easy to make God important. It's easy to want out of our suffering. But that suffering can be a sacrifice if used right. It has to be used right. It can't just be, I'm suffering, so this is my sacrifice to God. Not exactly.
Play big. Yellow. Our blue lady. What's that?
Oh.
Yellow. Our blue lady.
Oh, right.
What's that?
There we go. Good job. You got a nice tackle for a loss. Oh, what did I do? Get up. Get up. Oh, I know what I did. Haha.
Yellow. 180. What's that?
Get off me. Don't know what happened. 3rd and 30, and I can't see anything. Oh, I should try to get closer. 4th and 6. Oh, man. I don't know what happened. Okay. Wait, 1st and 10. Oh. Darn it. Alright, no, that's okay. This one's challenging. Okay, we did something right.
I think we all know what today was. Today simply wasn't good enough.
No.
We have high aspirations as a team. If we want to get there, we got to raise our game. Today was not good enough. Next practice, I want it better.
I want it better. Okay, okay. No, we're not going to retry. We're just going to continue. So, after all that, thank you for watching. I hope that God doesn't bless you with some hard times. But remember that the hard times are a blessing. But if you go through something hard, remember, God loves you.